All right, so I'm looking to start my first video here. It's kind of like an introduction and to kind of set the tone for what I want this channel to be. Um, so I work full time. I'm a police officer. I'm a detective, and I have a full-time family at home that I also love to spend time with. And I got into trading because of my wife. She wanted to do it, and like most things, when she wants to do it, I look into it. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and I do it. It's been a bumpy road. I've started trading back in May 2025-ish. Uh, yeah, April, kind of. Um, and like you can see, since I started journaling, which will be a video that we talk about, um, and again, I mean, I can make up any one of these numbers. I can make anything I want. Um, but it is what it is. This is my breakdown. And you can see, like, I started just like everyone else. When I see prop firms, I started off with Top Step, and I'd pay the eval fee. It took me a long time to pass the eval the first time, and once I got past it and started the funding stage, I just grinded my way up. You can see like I started here with around 2000-ish when I started journaling, and you can see that I was having pretty equal days, took payouts, um, having some red weeks, and then moving up and moving up further, having P&L of 2700, 4000, drop down to 1800, 2000, 4, 7, 3, 6. And you can really see like the trade count is going high. And I do have a good amount of green days, but when you look at it, you know, one red trade takes out the past 3 days. Yeah, I made it back, but like trade management and risk management is a big factor as well. Um, you can see a lot of the time my losers are bigger than my winners. Like this trade right here took out pretty much a whole week. Um, July, you know, August was a very good month for me. I had a lot of green days. And I was basing my performance off of green days versus red days. To this day, I'm not the best loser, but I'm a lot better of a loser now than I was back then. Um, and then yeah, September, October, a lot of red in October. You can see I I started to revenge trade. I see it got here, had a nice payout, $20,000 in my account, dropped down to 15, dropped down to 11. And then I started working my way back up, and then massive loss. Okay, got cocky, revenge traded. Um, worked my way back up, worked my way back up, and I was able to like just this loss right here, the entire month, I still didn't make up what I had lost. December comes in. December wasn't bad overall. January, this is where I kind of started journaling more on my trades, which again we'll talk about. Um, and you can see that I had the stars for good, the skulls for bad. And you can see like even the days that I got green, I had bad stars. Look at 100% YOLO trade. Like just because you're making money doesn't mean you're doing good. Okay. Um, I think realistically this month was protected by this one big win. Um, February comes around, I kind of change it a bit, and this was my massive February loss. Horrible trade, little conflicts, revenge traded, so fucking stupid. Um, then we had some issues with Top Step, saying I was hedging accounts. Uh, I proved that I wasn't, um, and I started trading off Lucid. Got a massive Lucid day, went overnight swing on silver, and then just kind of worked my way, lost some, and then uh, this is where I had some big issues because I ended up blowing my account um, on my Lucid account, and then I started again on my funded futures. Worked my way up on my funded futures, and kept going, kept going, kept going, and I ended up taking out enough payouts on my funded futures where um, like the account closed because I took out everything. Um, it wasn't a lot. I took out I think total 6 grand. Um, and then I went back to Lucid, and I've been on Lucid ever since. And I love Lucid. Um, and you can see working my way up. And I had some big days, $7,000 day there. Um, and April was another big day or big month for me. 3-3, 19-3. And May was a bad month. May um, had some rough days, a lot of red days, and now June. So June is kind of my redemption month. I've had some massive days on June, and um, I'm starting to journal my trades a little bit better, and that's where we're at. Um, so again, it doesn't mean much because again, I can make any numbers up I want. And I think that's the big thing people have to remember is that whenever they're trying to find anyone to watch online, you got to do your research because I can make up any number I want. Um, and it's not hard nowadays to kind of give the perception that I could be a 7-figure trader, but I'm not. So my whole goal of this is not to tell you, hey, this is what to do to make money. It's here's some tips to help you not lose money. Okay. Nothing I'm saying here is financial advice. It's just some little tips and tricks on what I've taught myself to try to not lose money. Okay. You have to risk money to make money, especially trading. Um, but our number one goal should be proper risk managers. You're not a trader, you're a risk manager. Okay. So there's a lot of little ways for people to start. If you're still trying to figure out what your edge is, um, that's okay. You don't need to have one specific edge to make money in the market. I have traded so many things. I have done break and retests. I've done orb. I've done supply and demand. Uh, volume profile, market profile, stock to market theory in general. Um, I've done scalping with order flow, footprint charts, trend lines, all of it. Okay, and there's so many things you can do. Like if we just take a chart right here, let's put on the electronic hours. Okay, you can see, I'm just going to make this look a little better for everyone. Okay, even just something as simple as, you can be um, a trendline trader. Like you want to be a trendline trader and start trading off of trend lines and seeing if trend lines break, then you can do that. It's not wrong. There are a lot of traders out there that trade trend lines. Like, here's a perfect example. You have 1, 2, 3 touch points. Okay. Bam, 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 broke. and now get in, and there you go. Like that was just a random trend line. Problem with trend lines, in my opinion, is that they're very subjective. Um, like I can, this is just a very quick trend line, but anyone could draw a trend line the way that they want. Okay, but you can see that just from this, bam, 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 and then you just broken trend line, you go down. Um, it can be something that simple. It can even be simple as just, drawing support and resistance lines. Uh, like there you go. Okay, a general break and retest, which is something we'll talk about. You see the market come in, breaking a higher time frame resistance level, bam, retest, go. Like that's just something very, very simple and drawing in a random spot. And everyone can see these. That's what makes these strategies so not even strategies, setups so useful is that they're like self-fulfilling prophecies. Everyone can see that that is a clear level right there. You bring anyone in that's never even looked at trading, and you push this line in there, and they will automatically recognize that, it just kind of fits. You know what I mean? Uh, and it's just a way to do it. And you can be a higher time frame if you want to get a high time frame and just be like, look at it right there. Touch, 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 touch. Like it's pretty clear, you know, how that works. You could even go down and be the orb trader. So if we look at, uh, well, we won't use today because today's still going and it's not really the best example. But if we even look at even yesterday, okay? So yesterday you have orb high, orb low, bam, okay? And if you're actually watching, okay, obviously, they're not touched right on there. Um, okay, so you can see that, you know, price had a retest and then it broke down. And now you have your break with volume, good volume more break. Where this one didn't really have a lot of good holding, that does. Like you can be an orb trader, you can be the initial balance trader, which to me initial balance is more of um, a tool rather than a strategy. But I mean, even if you look at the initial balance, which is the first hour of the day, you know, the lows hit. The lows are protected or the highs or the lows are generally protected on all initial balance days. They're based off initial balance. Like you can be in initial balance. Um, or you can be a volume profile trader. Uh, just going off of fixed range. If you want to do uh, uh, if you want to be a volume profile trader, understand, the P shapes and where the value very high, value very low, you know, outside value, the whole concept of auction market theory, where price opens up, outside of value, that there's a good chance that it's going to remain outside of value. It's just the way the auction tends to go. Um, if you want to be a supply and demand trader, you want to do higher time frame supply and demand. You can do that as well. Just trying to find a good example. You know, um, if you want to be rocking the higher time frame, supply zones or the order blocks. Uh, you can do that as well. There's so many ways to make money. You can do ICT strategies. If you want to look at external, internal liquidity, you can be a bookmap trader if you want to do the order flow. You can be a DOM trader, not the best DOM to use. Um, that counts as lock because I locked myself out after my trade. But yeah, and I mean, you can see for me in general, like I have a lot of different kind of setups I do. I know I follow Vincent Desiano, who's a break and retest trader. Um, you know, I also do uh, just very basic break retest of key levels. That could be something that you could do. You don't even need to um, look at a chart and be like, okay, this looks like a good area right here. No, it can literally be as simple as you marking off, the high and the low of the past 2 weeks. You just doing this, et cetera, all the way down, you're gonna get pretty much this. And if you look at it, just basically marking off the high and the low, look at the channels that are made. Like it's a pretty clear indication of, how the market works. And there's really little subjectivity to it because the high and the low are pretty clear where they are. And it works on any asset. You can do the ES, you can do the NQ, you can do supply and demand. Want to be a supply and demand trader? You can do that as well. And you can see, like, I had this zone set, and it works both times. Uh, you can do volume profile. Like I said, I'm a big volume profile trader. Um, with initial balance, the purple line is my initial balance, and I'm just a volume profile trader. I look to see if price will how price interacts with the volume created the day prior, and um, you kind of go from there. But you can combine, like, look at, I'm combining the essentially high and lows of the past 2 weeks in this as well with the initial balance, which volume profile. So I'm kind of mixing everything. You don't have to be great at one thing. It is good to pick something and master it. However, you don't need to kind of narrow your focus down to I'm just gonna be a volume profile trader. Just gonna be an initial balance trader. Just gonna be an org trader. You could do a bunch of different things. So I think that's kind of a big factor that was hard when I was looking online trying to teach myself how to trade, and it was, the only volume profile strategy you'll ever need, or use this org strategy to make $100,000 in 10 days. It doesn't work that way. Um, and anyone that says it does is either lying to you or they want you to gamble. Because those are the only two ways that you are going to make that much money consistently is by gambling. You can gain it just as much as you can lose it. Okay. Um, so essentially, my plan for this channel is to pass on, not even teach, pass on my knowledge I've gained from training, um, all these different types of styles and setups, how to use proper risk management. I mean, even something as simple, um, like I have my sizing chart here to know, like, look, if I'm only willing to risk $80 per trade, just something like this is very simple. I now know that if I want to have an 8-point stop with an $80 risk, I can only risk two contracts. If I want to have a tight stop and say, a 2-point stop, and I want to risk $80, well, I can put on 8 contracts. And as we scale in, scale out, it's sort of that, not that dynamic risk that you can get or a lot of seasoned traders use, but that static risk, which is very, very, very important for new traders. Um, and I will say this chart is 100% credited to Prem Rosado. He's the one that taught me this. He is a seasoned trader, and as far as I know, he still uses static risk management and sizing. So it goes to show you, like, you can use a lot of different things to make money. There's always ways to make money in the market, and it's just a matter of increasing your odds of being successful. I could flip a coin at any point and make money in the market. but I could also lose money in the market. Perfect example. Okay, we go here. Here, let's just do it to make it like very dramatic, but on a paper trade account, so not real money. Okay, buy. Roll the dice. Bam. I just made 9 grand. Look at that. Flip a coin. Made 9 grand. Okay, let's see. Try to do it again. Bam. Oh, look at that. Going up. Oh, oh. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to do it if I can get above. Look at that. Made 6 grand, 7 grand. Okay, that's 2 coin flips. Pretty good. Look at that. Oh, no. Oh, now we're going down. Like this is just showing you. Look at that. 6 grand done. 5 grand done. Okay, let's try again. I'm just flipping coin. Just hitting buy randomly. Okay. And it goes to show like it's kind of a bad example that I'm doing this and I'm just making money. But they just like it doesn't really matter what you do in the market. It's just a matter of what can you do to increase your odds and your probability. Okay. So for me, just randomly, I'm like, okay, cool. Like if we look at here, I mean, we're on a 1 minute chart, probably not the best. But if we raise up to a 50-minute chart, you can see like, look at, we're in a pretty, this area right here. There's obviously some rejections going on. So the chances of the market breaking this, there's some resistance and building there. The chance of the market breaking this is lower than if I would sell right here, have a stop above there, and just kind of roll the dice. I may have increased my chances of being profitable by, you know, 1% just from doing that. And like you can see that it's working, but it doesn't mean that it has to work. It's just about increasing the odds. That's the whole goal and the whole plan. And everything I'm going to try to show you is just to hopefully increase your odds of success. But this is a situation where you have to teach yourself and you have to take accountability for every single trade you take. You push buy, you push sell. The results is no one's fault but your own. The market's not there to hunt down your stops. The market's not there to owe you anything. Okay? There's a reason for every single thing the market does, and it's just a matter of knowing it and how to take advantage of it. Okay? So, with that being said, I hope you guys will find some interest in the content that I create. I'm doing this more to teach myself as I go and to kind of refresh all these little things that I've taught myself and to also keep accountability because I'm going to show some live trades, winners, losers, even days where no trades happen. And I'll tell you why I did not take a trade that day. Because I think that's another big thing, especially in a prop firms. If you have such a low starting capital, you can't take a trade every single day. Unless you're trying to, again, roll the dice, gamble the prop accounts. If you want to be in the game for a long time and actually have success as a trader, not a gambler, you have to know when not to trade and when to trade. And you have to be okay sitting on your hands. And I think that's a hard, hard concept for a lot of people to get. Okay. So we'll go through everything. If there's anything specific that people are interested in knowing, let me know. And if I have the information to provide you, I will. And if I don't have the information to give you an actual informed discussion about, then I'll just have to say no. I don't want to pass on information that I don't actually know knowledge of. Um, for example, my channel will have nothing to do with ICT. I know nothing about ICT. I'm not an ICT trader. So I don't want to, put ICT concepts out there because I want viewers. I'm not about that. I just want to pass on proper information to help people get longevity in the market. Okay, so again, thank you for watching this, and I do appreciate it. Even if I get one view and it happens to be my wife, at least that information is getting passed on. Um, so until next time, happy trading.